welcome back to Dr. JP classes. I hope you all are fine. Friends, today's class is on how to write a research based article. The title of the research based article is A Study of Negative Influence of Information and Communication Technology on Secondary School Students' Learning Outcome in Ganjam district. Friends, previously we had discussed about what to include in your research project, part 1 and part 2. You can watch that video. I shall provide the link of those video in the description box. If you are new to this channel, please like, share, subscribe and press the bell icon to get notification when new videos are uploaded. So, let's start. Title of the research-based article is A Study of Negative Influence of ICT on Secondary School Students' Learning Outcome in Ganjam district. At first, we should know about how to write an abstract in research-based article. Abstract is an overview of any research article. Here, the researcher highlighting all important aspects of the research, including how many respondents and what instrument used for the data collection, about the research method, collection of data process, research findings and conclusion. It is brief but comprehensive summary of the any research article. It is based on what's being invested, that is negative influence, who it involves secondary school students, in what context the Ganjam district, why it is conducted, because of it has a national importance. Then introduction. In introduction part, following subparts are included. First, identification of the problem, then significance of the study, operational meaning of the terms used, then purpose of the study, then objectives of the study, then it has based some research question, then scope and limitation of the study, then review of related literature, then design of the study. In design of the study section, these are the following subsections. First, research design, sampling procedure, methods and instrument of data gathering, then statistical treatment. Other part of research based article is analysis and interpretation of data, then presentation and discussion of findings, conclusion, some recommendations, then references that are based on the present article, then appendices. It is the last step of any research based project. Here in this section, some tables and mathematical calculations are included. So to start from abstract. In research-based article, the topic is a study of negative influence of ICT on secondary school students' learning outcome in Ganjam district. This paper examines the negative influence of ICT on secondary school students' learning outcome in Ganjam district. Randomly, 5 secondary schools in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block were selected for this study. Chhatrapur, that comes under the NAC block of Ganjam district in Odisha, which is having about 25 secondary schools in it, both private and government schools. The study utilized disproportionate stratified sampling technique to select 30 respondents, 8 head of the institution and 22 teachers. A survey research method was employed for this study. A 16-item structured questionnaire based on 5 Likert scale choices was used for data collection. 35 copies of the questionnaire were distributed while 30 retrieved, which yielded 85% return rate. For data collection, the researcher used 35 structured questionnaire and it was distributed to the respondents, but 30 questionnaire bring back or recover from the respondents. Then the research questions were answered using mean and standard deviation. The decision rule was analyzed with mean score above 2.50 regarded as A grade, while any mean score below 2.50 was regarded as disagreed. The findings of the study analyzed using frequency distribution, mean, and standard deviation. The result of the findings showed that ICT can take away valuable learning time if it can be overused. Also, it can turn educational experiences into games for students and thus enhance low academic performance. It also turns educational experience into games. It also exposes students to porn sites and can distract them during class hours. The work also tried recommending possible solution to this effect. The researcher also tried to provide some recommendations for solution of the problems to this effect. The article has also some keywords that are information and communication technology, negative influence, and the student's learning outcome. Any research based article or report start with introduction. Here, the researchers start with a general statement of the problem. Information and communication technology ICT is one of the most important driving force promoting education and economic growth in the country like India. During the last 2 decades, several countries have invested heavily in information and communication technology. Indeed, the use of information and communication technology in education and training has been a key priority in India's education in the last decades. Information and communication technology has had a major impact on the education sector, on organization, teaching and learning methods. Yet, there are considerably different information communication technology expenditure level between institutions within the country. Here, the researcher point out how information and communication technology is important in our day-to-day life and also has been a key priority in education system. But within the country, there are different information and communication technology expenditure level between institution to institution. Some schools have embedded information and communication technology into the curriculum and demonstrate high levels of effective and appropriate information and communication technology use to support teaching and learning across a wide range of subject areas. However, some other schools are in the early phase of adopting information and communication technology characterized by important enhancement of the learning process. Some developments of e-learning, that is information and communication technology, enabled learning, but without any profound improvement in learning and teaching, according to Anderson and other educationalists, 2003. One puzzling question concerned the effective impact of this technology on educational outputs and outcomes. For improvements in learning and teaching and making the teaching learning process interesting and fun, some educational institutions use ICT in the teaching learning process. But the question arises the effectiveness of these technologies, whether learning outcome of the student positive or negative. Then, identification of the problem. Here, the researcher provides a theoretical framework of the study within which the research has been conducted and make the material more logical, useful, and interesting for the reader. Information and communication technology ICT has an important role in the world since we are now in the information age. Nowadays, ICT cannot be separated with our daily needs. ICT has a great impact in our daily lives. The use of ICT in education adds value in teaching and learning by enhancing the effectiveness of learning or by adding a dimension to learning that was not previously available. ICT in teaching has very important because it develops the students' creative power, help in knowledge construction, create learning environment, teaching strategies, problem solving skills, Information and communication technology ICT plays a vital role in enhancing the quality of education. At the same time, excess use of ICT can lead to less time spent on reading, doing homework, and other academic activities that results the learning outcome or academic performance of students become poor. ICT plays a vital role in enhancing the quality of education. It develops the students' creative power, critical thinking power, problem solving skills, but at the same time, the excess use of ICT can lead to less time spent on reading and doing homework so that the learning outcomes or academic performance of the students become poor. A secondary school education is important as it introduces students to more advanced and specific subjects that lay a good academic foundation for when they eventually leave school and help them to get better jobs, thus increasing the possibility of earning more and improving their financial status. After reviewing of related literature, the investigator found that very few studies have examined the negative influence of information and communication technology, that is ICT, on children's education, particularly on secondary school students' learning outcome. In the present study, the researcher has made a humble attempt to study the negative influence of ICT on secondary school students' learning outcome in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block. The researcher select this area because it is the district headquarters of Ganjam district in the state of Odisha in India. After reviewing the related literature, the investigator found that very few studies have examined the negative influence of ICT on children's education, particularly on the secondary school students. So, the investigator chose this topic for present research work. Then, significance of the study. Here, the researcher provides justification for the research to be conducted. The use of ICT in education has intensely reformed learning and teaching processes. Understand different concepts on the basis of self-learning and using variety of approaches. They will be aware of what information they need, why they need it, and how they can get that information. Provide a way for dynamic and collaborative learning. Technology helps make teaching and learning more meaningful and fun. Despite the positive impact of ICT, the use of information and communication technology can exert a negative influence on child education that results the learning outcomes or academic performance of the student become poor. Hence, the researcher thought it prudent to conduct study at examining the negative influence of information and communication technology on secondary school students' education because they are the citizens of tomorrow. Then, the operational meaning of the term used. Here, the researcher used some key terms in their research work. These are information and communication technology, negative influence, and students' learning outcome. Information and communication technology can be defined as computer based tools and techniques for gathering and using information. It encompasses the hardware and software, the network, and several other devices that are videos, audio, photographic camera, etc., that can convert information, images, and sound into common digital form. It includes electronic information and processing technologies such as computer and internet, as well as telecommunication networks. Information and communication technology utilize a broad range of technologies that are applied in the process of collecting, storing, editing, retrieving, and transfer of information in various forms. Information and communication technology has increasingly played a critical role in all fields of human endeavors. Here, the researcher provides information about computer based tools and techniques for gathering and using information. And ICT also helps teachers to interact with students. It helps in improving teaching skills, help in innovative teaching, helps in effectiveness of classroom. Teachers and students get relevant materials needed through the internet. Such quality materials are used in equipping the students and upgrading their knowledge in their field of study. The use of ICT has become part and parcel of human life and is fast becoming the digitalized enhanced teaching and learning norm in education. There is a lot of transformation through information and communication technology. Fried 2008 stated that information communication technology brings some very powerful aids to translating theory into practice. ICT in classroom can be seen from two angles. First, it refers to the use of ICT for enhancing learning, providing an exposure to the use of ICT in general, which will basically include the use of computers. ICT in classroom also help the students and teacher from two angles. First, it provides the knowledge of use of ICT for enhancing learning. Secondly, it provides the knowledge of use of computers. Then, what way it provides negative influence? Despite the positive impact of ICT, the use of information and communication technology can exert a negative influence on child education. Children's brains are still developing and may be more sensitive to the effect of technology. Children who overuse technology may be more likely to experience issues including low academic performance, lack of attention, low creativity, delay in language development, delays in social and emotional development, physical inactivity and obesity, poor sleep quality, social issues such as incompatibility and anxiety, aggressiveness behavior. Due to the influx of online gaming sites and programs, many children spend a lot of time playing these games, whether it is a multiplayer, role playing, or action or pet carrying games. More and more children are spending hours doing nothing but sitting in front of the computer or mobile playing games. Excessive use can lead to less time spent on reading, doing homework, and other academic activities. Some of these negative effects of technology in today's classroom are that it can take away valuable learning time, it can be overused, and it can also turn educational experience into games for students. This study is therefore aimed at examining the negative influence of information and communication technology on secondary school students' education and analyze why learning outcome or academic performance of the students become poor in Chhatrapur block of Ganjam district, Odisha state, and proffer possible solution to this effect. In this research based article, the researcher examining the negative influence of communication and technology that affects the students' education and it leads to low academic performance. So, the researcher holding it out and provides some possible solution to these effects. Then another important key word of research based article is students learning outcome. The standard of education is grossly measured by the performance or learning outcome of its students. According to Essay View 2015, students' learning outcome, which is also called academic achievement, is the outcome of educational, the extent to which students has achieved their educational goals. It is commonly measured by examination or continuous assessment, but there is no general agreement on how it is best tested or which aspects are most important. Students' learning outcome refers to what the student has on what skills, assessments like standardized test, performance assessment, and portfolio assessment, according to Smith and Other Educationalist 2009. It is also widely acknowledged that information and communication technology can be used to improve the quality of teaching and learning in the school system, according to Clark 2006. The use of ICT will enhance the learning experience of students. Also, it helps them to think independently, widening their horizons, and communicate creatively. It also supports the overall development of the personality of the students. But growing problem among children these days is the problem of computer and information and communication technology. They are extremely busy in accessing number of sites other than educational sites for long hours, which creates a very negative impact on their mind. Excessive use can lead to less time spent on reading, doing homework, and other academic activities. It can take away valuable learning time. Social media had become a major distraction to students, causing the overall performance of students to decline, especially the ones who tend to check their Facebook and Twitter while studying, so that the learning outcome or academic achievement of the students become poor. Here, the researcher point out why the academic achievement or learning outcome of the students become poor because they are frequently checking their Facebook and Twitter that takes valuable learning time, and the students are extremely busy in accessing number of sites other than educational sites for long hours so that they spend less time on reading or doing their homework and other academic activities. For that reason, academic achievement of the students become poor. Then, purpose of the study. The general purpose of the study is to investigate the negative influence of information and communication technology on secondary school students in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block. The specific purpose of this study are identify the ICT gadgets available to secondary schools in Chhatrapur block, establish the negative uses of which students put ICT gadgets at their disposal. Then identify the negative impacts of information and communication technology in selected secondary schools in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block. Then proffer possible solution that will reduce the negative use and effect of information and communication technology on secondary school students in Chhatrapur block. Here, the researcher point out the area where the research had conducted and point out the rationale or purpose of the study. Here, the researcher identified the problem of particular area and put forward to provide some possible solution to reduce the negative use and effect of ICT on secondary school students. Then, in order to get the right solution, a clearly defined objectives are very important. Without it, the researcher is aimless and directionless. To keep it in mind, the researcher take four following objectives of the particular study. First, to determine how computer addiction affect child education in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block. Then to evaluate how information overload influence on secondary school students in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block. Then to assess the influence of excessive emphasis on visuals on child education in Chhatrapur block. Then to develop measures for checkmating the negative influence of information and communication technology on secondary school students in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block. The objective of any research article summarizes what is to be achieved by the study. Then research question. Here the researcher take four research questions that provide a framework for reporting the results and quite helpful for discussion later. The research questions based on the proposed research with the field of study. The questions are: what are the effects of the computer addiction on secondary school students' learning outcome in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block? How does information overload affect on secondary school students' learning outcome in Ganjam district of Odisha, Chhatrapur? What is the effect of excessive emphasis on visuals on secondary school students' learning outcome in Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block? Then, what measures can be employed in checkmating the negative influence of ICT on secondary school students' learning outcome in Ganjam district of Chhatrapur? The research questions should be well defined and more focused because it point out the area where the research conducted. Then, scope and limitations of the study. Here, the researcher describes the extent of the study, actual place where the study will be conducted, and duration of the study. Then, limit the number of respondents and the area limit. The scope of the study comprises mainly examining the negative influence of information and communication technology, then to investigate into the degree of ICT influence on secondary school students' learning outcome. The researcher does not claim this study to be self sufficient in all aspects. It is not free from limitations. The investigator had tried to be scientific and objective in the process of investigation. While this research subject has national relevance, it is however limited to Ganjam district of Odisha state, Chhatrapur block. There are 25 secondary schools in this area. The study utilized disproportionate stratified sampling technique to select 30 respondents. Out of 30 respondents, 8 head of the institution and 22 teachers. The statistical techniques like mean, standard deviation were employed to analyze data. Here, the researcher does not claim this research article is free from all limitations. Here, the researcher take Ganjam district, one of the block that is Chhatrapur block in Odisha state. There are many blocks in Ganjam district, but the researcher chose the block because the Chhatrapur block is headquarter of Ganjam district and the researcher also belong to the particular area and select only 30 respondents and use the statistical techniques mean standard deviation to analyze the data. But we can choose other area and also select more respondents and other statistical techniques also used to analyze the data. Here the researcher used questionnaire to collect the data. Other techniques also used for that purpose. So, this study is not free from limitations. Friends, that's all for today's video. Other important points of research based article that are review of related literature, design of the study, then analysis and interpretation of data we will discuss in part 2. Thank you for watching. Friends, if my video provides you little bit information, then please do like, subscribe and don't forget to write your comments. Okay everybody, stay tuned.